Hey, shalom, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of My Take with Rosh Ya'acob. I am Rosh Ya'acob ben Abraham, Rabbi of Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation. On this show, we deal with all kind of Torah situations, and we look at everything from a Torah perspective and a Hebraic perspective. And I always try to make sure that we look at our people and get everything together for us. On this episode tonight, we're going to be dealing with the 14th Amendment. So we're going to go right in and deal with the 14th Amendment. Talk about all those things that's going on with the 14th Amendment. And just go from there. I know you guys heard stuff about the 14th Amendment a lot, especially with the situation going on with the immigrants. So I wanted to touch on that tonight. I was going to do a special show and touch on it on last Wednesday because I felt like it was fitting since it was Black History Month, and I was going to throw that in. But I remembered at the last minute that I had something about vocab that I was supposed to speak on, and I'm glad I spoke on it. So on Wednesday's show, I'm gonna have an update. I actually had somebody that said some remarks or said some things that I feel needs to be of concern that we need to discuss and talk about, because I want to make sure the brother knows and understands where I stand and where I'm coming from with what I'm saying. I'm not even sure if he looked at the whole thing. I know sometimes we can see things. Hey, Shalom Makoti. How are you? I don't know. Sometimes people can see things and they might jump to a conclusion and say, oh, he talking about this. And the whole time I'm not even talking about what he think I'm talking about. And I'm like, so I'm going to address his comments, and just let the brother know, you know, that however he was taking it, why that's a danger. So be sure to be here on Wednesday when I go through that. That's going to be Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, breaking down my take, because you know my take on Wednesdays is questions and answers. So I'm going to try to have something exciting for you guys on there. All right. So with that being said and done, you see I got the Art of Clothing on right now in the building. I mean, again, for those who just came on, I might be looking, please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You see I got the Art of Clothing gear on, representing for the Art of Clothing. Got all kind of designer shirts and stuff out there for you. So I'm now in a better position where y'all can see it more. I said I want to be in a position where y'all can see what I'm wearing more versus how I was, where you couldn't really tell. So yeah, so y'all can see the gear. Y'all see it's fresh. Give Brother Alex a holler. He's right there in the description. He's sponsoring us. He's doing a good thing. He's helping us sponsor us to bring about Torah knowledge to those who are trying to come back home. So please, if you can, buy something from him or just spread it. Just let other people know about it. Even if you can't afford to do anything, just let other people know. And also like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, I'm representing for got another sponsor as well, Sister Linda with the Simply Gorgeous Glow. And she got all kind of products. She got products that men wear, as far as got products for the beard, help the beard be nice and fresh and together, nice and groomed, help it to come in more and be full. She got products for your hair. She got products for your skin to stop you from being ashy. She got stuff for women. You got all kind of different things women want. She make jewelry. She got all kind of things going on her webpage. I got all her links in the description as well. So please, please, please support Black businesses, especially Black businesses that are supporting Torah knowledge. These businesses are supporting Torah knowledge, so please help support them. All right. Also, what else? Let me see what else I want to do. Oh, well, let's get into the show. I'm going to go ahead and start off with our word from our sponsor. And once I come back with the word from our sponsor, then we're going to get into the show. Okay, welcome back. We about to get into the show. This show will be packed with a lot of information. I got a lot of the videos in a link because I know I'm not going to be able to get through all of them. So much information on them. I'm going to dip and dab and try to pencil and fit everything together in a nice narrative for you guys to understand what is being said about us. And why it is so good to know your identity, right? Now, I know y'all might be saying, why you keep saying it like that? Why are you saying identity like that? I'm gonna try to pull up my video that I did in the past. I did this video in the past. I'm gonna try to pull it up. And on this video I did in the past, there's one of my old videos. And it's actually dealing with this brother that's talking about identity, right? So I want to go ahead and deal with him. Let me see if I can find it. When I show it to you, y'all gonna trip. Y'all gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember that. So I'm trying to bring him back up. I'm trying to get to it. Hold on 1 second. It ain't take me to it. You know what? No, that ain't it. Let me come out of that. Shit, where the playlist at? So let me. Hey, shalom, Aki, shalom, Aki. Good to see you here. All right. So I want y'all to see what I'm looking at. So I'm trying to find this video for y'all. So if y'all ever come on my page, you see now I got a whole lot of videos now on my page. Really got them up there. And the pictures look so exciting. I'm like, wow, it make me want to click on it. I'm like, okay, I want to click on that and see what that's talking about. I haven't done a current of the month in a while. I haven't done them since year before last. Before we went on a hiatus. So I definitely want to do some more current of the months. Because that was kind of dope, doing a current of the months. Let me see. I'm trying to get to my playlist. Here we go. I'm going to click this tab. This will take you right to the playlist. And I want to go here to this playlist. I want to pause that because I'm not looking at that. But I want to go back to this brother right here.
Creates behavior.
There you go, throw some philosophy.
The Klan, they did use the Bible in saying that, well, we're more of a superior race than, these.
Now, I got it in the description. Hold on.
Morals and your actions. Because it's like the Hebrew Israelites, you're more hung up on identity of people. And
y'all heard that? That's where the identity thing coming from. So I'm going to let you... Hold on. I want you to hear our brother Cooley Brother Cooley said we hung up on identity. Let me let you hear him say it again. I love the way he says identity. Watch this. Sorry, I did say identity like one time. One time he said identity. But other than that, for the most part, he definitely hasn't been talked about it in the way that this brother is about to do. But the brother is coming from a playbook. So I want y'all to see. It's a playbook that was put together by a street apologist on how to deal with Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, and that street apologist is none other than that Vocab Malone guy who I did the video about last Wednesday and did it about his teacher the Wednesday before that. All right, so watch the brother. He's going to say Hebrew Israelites are so concerned with identity. Watch this. That's what we're going to see at work right here.
My question is, anyone can follow like
Protect your wealth by spending.
Wow, this is a commercial.
Not paper money that grows weaker by the second.
Come on.
have an identity. So what's more important then? An identity or your morals and your actions? Because it's like the Hebrew Israelites, you're more hung up on identity of people instead of morals and action.
Now, all right, so now, whenever y'all hear me say identity, now y'all know why I'm saying it, because y'all might say, why you keep saying identity? And I'm like that. I'm petty like that. But that video is called Are Hebrew Israelites Black Identity Extremists? Right? So that's what that one is called. Anyway, let's get to what we here for today. We're here for this right here. So we're going to get into this one. Dealing with the 14th Amendment. And I want you to see, as we go through this, you're going to see why identity is so important. Okay? I want to make sure you see why identity is so important. So we want to see it right here. Let's go.
If you were born on U.S. soil, then you are an American citizen.
All right. So, boom. If you was born on U.S. soil, you are an American citizen. That's what they got from the Constitution, from the amendment to the Constitution. My question to you is that true? The reason why I bring this up, I was in a meeting last week and we was all sitting there talking, and there was a questionnaire that was passed out, and they asked about the 14th Amendment, and they said, does the 14th Amendment talk about illegal immigrants coming to this country and being born here and saying that they are now citizens? And I was like, no. And people was astonished and shocked and probably thought I was a Trump supporter and didn't know what to think. And I'm thinking, you guys just don't understand how this goes, right? It's a thing about identity. Now, she's going to explain it the way you all know. So I'm going to let her get out the way and explain it the way you all know. And then I'm going to jump back in and we're going to keep it moving.
It's written into the Constitution. It was one of the necessary steps after that little spat called the Civil War. But this might not be the case for long. Yes, incoming President Trump has vowed to end birthright citizenship.
Now, was it meant to be used the way that it's being used? That's the subject. That's the question. That's the thought. Who was it made for? This is why identity is so important. Because they saying this wasn't made for you. This is made for everybody. Ain't that wild? And you might be saying, I don't understand what you're saying. All right, I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna let him cook.
And the Supreme Court might let him. But can they do that? For more, we turn to chaos lawyer Liz Dye.
Thanks, Devin. In 1868, Americans amended the Constitution to clarify that anyone born on U.S. soil is automatically a U.S. citizen. What Donald Trump presupposes is, maybe we didn't.
Now, look how she puts this together, and look at the little funny clip they put in there to make you think, oh, Donald Trump just a nut. What is he talking about, right? I want you to. I want you to hear what she says. I'm gonna rewind it back to what she says.
1968, Americans amended the Constitution to clarify that anyone born on U.S. soil is automatically a U.S. citizen.
Now, did they clarify this for anyone born on U.S. soil? Anyone. That's what I want y'all to keep in mind. I'm gonna help y'all out today. We gonna cook today. I've been waiting a whole week to get into this. Is this speaking about anyone? Cause see how she put that anyone born on him? Is that who it was made for? Okay, let's keep going.
What Donald Trump presupposes is, maybe we didn't.
Maybe you didn't?
The once and future president has long promised to end birthright citizenship, most recently in an interview with NBC's Kristen Welker.
You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah. If somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need two, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Now, I like how she's going to try to paint this picture like what he talked about some other day. What he said is, you land a foot on the land, right? Let's say it's a woman and a husband. She get here, she pregnant. She land 1 foot on his land and have the baby. The baby, according to what we was always taught, is automatically a citizen. That's what we was taught. That's why the immigrants, illegal immigrants, like all we gotta do is get there, our children get born. Even if we get sent back, at least our children will be citizens, right? Because that's what their law says. But is that what it really says? Is that what it's really about? Okay, let's keep going.
Look, I think he's talking about what was known as the wet foot, dry foot policy under the Cuban
Notice he said, I
Act of
think,
1966.
but that wasn't what he was talking
That law
about.
said that Cuban refugees who made it to American shores were allowed to stay, but migrants interdicted at sea were to be returned to Cuba. Honestly, that has zero to do with birthright citizenship.
That wasn't what he was talking about.
Since there appears to be some confusion on this topic,
go ahead.
let's go back to the beginning.
Let's go back to the beginning.
There was racism. Specifically,
in the beginning, it was what? Racism. Racism against who? Oh, man, I meant to put that on there. Dun, dun, dun. Hold up. I'm going to see if I can find that. Hold on. I'm not going to be undone. I'm not going to be undone because there's going to be a lot of them derms moments. I'm going to see if I can find my sound effects. Let me see if I can find my sound effects for y'all. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second, people. See if I can find my sound effects. Because this needs a sound. This is a sound effect moment. This is a sound effect moment. Look, the sound effect popped up on the whole screen. This is a sound effect moment, people. I'm sorry. This is a sound effect moment, people. I'm sorry. Oh, man. I got to keep the sound effect handy. Y'all going to hear that a lot tonight. Oh, man. We doing some things today. We gonna work it out. We gonna work it out. All right. Let's get it ready. Let's get it ready. Oh, man. You said 4? All right, Argees, watch this. Yeah. Look at what it said. She says it all began with racism. Who is the racism against? You know what that racism was against? That racism was against us. It was against FBA. It was against ADOS. So you can't just come over and say African American because you from Africa and then you in America, so you African American, and say that was talking about you. That racism that it's talking about that happened in the beginning, it was talking about us. So that's why identity is important. Because once you take the identity out, then you can say it's about everybody. But watch what she say. She gonna break it down herself. And I'm not just stopping with her video. I got a bunch of videos for y'all tonight. Oh, I'm not just stopping with her.
At its founding, it was legal in roughly half of this country to own other human beings as property. And at the Constitutional Convention of 1787, there was a fight about how...
Notice she said other human beings. What human beings, lady? Other human beings? What human beings are you talking about? You guessed it, us. Israelites, FBA, ADOS, West African Jews. That's who it was going against. It wasn't just any and everybody. Say who it is. Say who was being discriminated against. Say who they try to say was just some property. Say who it is that's being hemmed up in this picture right here. Who being hemmed up in this picture? Say who it is. But they like to be ambiguous, because if they say who it is, then they'll be saying what he is going to say. So we're going to get to that. I'm going to let them finish going. I just want y'all to see what's going on.
How to count those enslaved black people for the purpose of congressional apportionment.
So now she said enslaved black people. Yeah, let's talk about who it is. Let's talk about who it is.
Constitutional Convention of 1787, there was a fight about how to count those enslaved black people for the purpose of congressional apportionment.
Now, we're going to say a clown in a minute that don't even understand anything about what she just said. And we're going to get more understanding about what she's talking about right there. Because what she's saying right there is dealing with the 3/5 clause. So matter of fact, this is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to do some mixing. I'm going to put my DJ hat on. I'm going to put my DJ hat on. We're going to do some mixing tonight. I'm going to stop and mix something in and take it out, mix something else in. We're going to put this joint together tonight. You can put this joint together tonight. Now it says, for the purpose of congressional apportionment. What does that mean? Well, we're going to see. Hold on 1 second. Because I want you to understand everything she's saying. I don't want us to take nothing lightly. So let me go to this right here. So this is going to talk about the 3/5 compromise. And this is going to explain all of that. Yeah, but the D are trigger. Watch this. This guy, I got to mix him in now because he's going to explain about the 3/5 compromise, which is what she's about to, because she's going to gloss over it. So I want him to jump in and explain about the 3/5 compromise.
Today we're looking at the 3/5 compromise. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. The Three-Fifths Compromise was a compromise that was reached during the Constitutional Convention of 1787, in which delegates from each state were sent to draft a new constitution for the United States.
All right, so delegates from each state, think about this. Delegates from each state, that means from the north and the south. Each state convened together to come up with a new constitution. And as they was coming up with this new constitution, what they was trying to do was figure out how to count the black people. But it's not going to be for the purpose of what this guy going to say. Now, let me let you see what this guy going to say. This guy going to talk. Before I let you hear the truth, when you hear the truth, you're going to be like, that dude was stupid. Ain't know what he talking about. Let me hear you what some clown podcaster had to say. I say this video early. This wasn't even originally part of what I was going to talk about. But after I seen this dude, I said, you know what? I got to give him what he want. He want to be on prime time. I'm going to give him what he want. So let me put him on prime time. I'm going to let you hear what this podcaster had to say before we get any deeper. Let me put it on a split screen. Hold on, where the split screen at? So I'm going to let you hear what this podcast had to say. And of course, this is on Indisputable with our homeboy and friend, Dr. Richie. He always breaking down stuff. And this is his crew. And they always find stuff and break down stuff. Now watch what this podcaster say. This podcaster going to say some outlandish stuff. Don't let it trigger you because they don't know what he's talking about. And we're going to touch on it because it's all about identity. Identity. Once you keep that in mind.
Slavery. Well, he can say, better listen.
And you're not an American because originally you were slaves and you didn't even have value.
Now, you heard what he said? You are not an American. Who are he talking to? He talking to black people. He ain't even dealing with the illegal immigrants. Of course he's saying they not Americans, right? Now he dealing with black people. He says, you are not Americans, you are just American citizens. You might be like, huh? What in the world are you talking about? Now, I guess that's supposed to trigger people and make them upset, but I'm like, I agree with you. I'm not no American. I'm an Israelite. Matter of fact, I'm a find it. It's this group that I'm gonna make the artist of the week on Wednesday, and they got a song like that called "I'm an Israelite." I'm an Israelite. I need Yisrael. You right. I'm not. Like Apostle Shaul. Do y'all remember Apostle Paul? Remember Apostle Paul? He was a Hebrew. He was an Israelite. But yet he was a Roman citizen. He was a citizen of Rome. That didn't mean he was Roman, because he wasn't Roman. He was a Hebrew. Citizen just meant he had citizenship in Rome. So they had to watch how they dealt with him because he was a Roman citizen. You get what I'm saying? But he was Hebrew. That's who he is. So again, identity. What are you identified as? That's why when the brothers say FBA, that's what they are identified as. ADOS, that's what they are identified as, right? Hebrew Israelite, West African Jew. That's your identity. American, you just a citizen. So I ain't no problem with him saying that. It offended them. They was offended. But I was like, okay. He'd have been looking stupid with me. I'd be like, all right, buddy, you right. What you want, a cookie? But let me let him finish. Because he think he cooking. He think he saying something slick, but really he talking stupid. But I'm going to let him finish talking stupid.
in terms of the political system. Then they were given like 3/8 of the value, right?
Now, he said, what I am is not, it didn't come all the way through. What I am is not something. I got you. I don't know what you about to say, but I know you about to say something slick. What I am is not W. Maybe we'll be the fill in the blanks. We'll be the fill in the blanks out what the W meant. It's the thing though. He think he said something slick, but he not. He started off saying he had no value in the political system. What I am is not who I am. Exactly. And that's why I said, as he said this, I'm like, dude, I'm with you. All the crazy stuff y'all done did everywhere. Well, me, I'm a citizen. You right, I'm a citizen. What are you talking about, man? Like my feelings were, my feelings hurt. He said, and then he said we had no value in the political system. The political system was made without us. In their political system, we was looked at as property. They didn't even look at us as people, right? So he right with that. But there's one thing he's wrong with, where he says you didn't even have, they only gave you 3/8 worth of value. That is not what happened. That is not what the 3/5 clause is about. And the guy's going to cry, say 3/5. He's going to say, yeah, 3/5. You don't even know what you're talking about. The 3/5 clause came into play because the slave owners, the people who had us kidnapped and was torturing and doing all kind of horrific acts to us so that they could profit. Those guys, they wanted also to dupe the government. They wanted to be able to hold as many congressional seats as they had people. So they tried to then link us up with family and say, no, they not property. They are people. They're like our children. That's why that's why Michael always say boy is a white racist word. Because they say boy, gal, boy, right? Boy and gal, right? That's what they would call you. You're a grown 50-year-old man. Somebody, hey boy. Like, what are you talking to, man? Woman, 40-something years old, tell me, hey gal. That's a grown woman, older than you. Like, what is happening right now, right? But it was supposed to be this perpetual patriarchy where he was this father figure over us. So he tried to claim the black people, the FBA, the ADOS. He tried to claim us as people. But the North said, no, we can't let you claim them as people because y'all not treating them as people. Y'all really just trying to get over on us and trying to use their heads so that y'all can get more of a positioning in Congress and have more power in Congress than the North. That's what it was about. It had nothing to do with the value of the human being as he's putting it. He don't even know what he's talking about. He trying to say history. This podcaster, I don't even know what his name is. She gonna say his name in a minute. But this podcaster's trying to say something about history that he don't even know. He don't even know the history. I'm sitting there like, what are you talking about? That is not even what was happening. But he tried to say something slick and arrogant and trying to say racially charged stuff to make himself feel relevant. Watch this fool.
3/5. 3/5. Thank you. In my world, it was 3/8, but I live in a utopia. No, I'm just kidding. But
then he keeps saying, just kidding. You not just kidding. Not just kidding. What are they just kidding for? Because you don't want to get strikes. You're not just kidding, but keep going.
But it was like 3/5. And you go down and it's like then, amendments were made and there was adjustments that gave you citizenship and the.
All right, now, again, notice he's pointing in. The amendment gave who citizenship? Who did the amendment give citizenship to? Everybody? Who he said that it gave citizenship to? The same people he dissing. FBA, ADOS, us. He said this gave you guys citizenship. That amendments, not everybody. But okay, maybe I'm taking it too far. You be taking it too far. You taking it too far. You been drinking the Kool-Aid. You drinking the Kool-Aid. Yes, us. That's who he talking about. That's who he gave citizenship to. Us. And that citizenship they gave to us supposed to clear out that 3/5 clause. But we'll see that as we go further along. Right? But again, he think he cooking. He think he saying something slick. But he really not. Then watch this part.
Right to vote. But it didn't make you an American. It just gave you American citizenship. It gave.
Okay. But what you want, a cookie? I still don't understand. What do you want? Right? I think what was affecting the people, because you're gonna see the sister gonna be hurt, sister gonna be crushed, right? I think what's affecting the people is this idea that we just want this so bad, and he's just saying, y'all still don't got it. Y'all citizens, but y'all still ain't us. So what? They not like us. You keep trying to be like us. What's going on? They not like us. Y'all know what that means. They not like us. I say that every day. What's happening right now? Stop, man. Stop playing with me.
Gave you legal right. And that's why it doesn't take a genius to notice that black people and white people in America look, act, behave fundamentally different. Both.
Exactly. I do not disagree with you at all, buddy. They gonna be happy with what you said. I like it because it's talking about identity.
Individually and collectively. Now, that's not to say that black people aren't valuable in the eyes of God. It's not to say that white.
Now, this is what he said. That's not to say black people aren't valued in the eyes of God. What are you talking about? Of course we valued in the eyes of the Almighty. That's why we in this predicament in the first place, because we forsook the covenant. That book that you read in and you think you know all the stuff about is talking about us. That's what the book is about. That's why you don't want us to focus on identity, because that'll take that away from you. Because we focus on our identity of being Yisrael, our identity of keeping Torah, our identity of doing all these things that we're supposed to do, more than our identity of pledging allegiance to a flag that held us down, that did all kind of crazy stuff to us, but we still pledge allegiance to the flag. See what I mean? When you stop worrying about pledging allegiance to a flag, but then you start saying, I'm a pledge allegiance to doing what I got to do for my people. Yeah, I don't even know why he felt like you said, why did he feel the need to qualify with that statement? I don't know. I think he thought he was hurting our feelings by saying that we not Americans. We just American citizens. So he felt like that was hurting our feelings. So he had to come back and say, that's not to say they don't have value from God. What are you talking about? That's why I say, once you know your identity, oh my goodness. And it make people so mad. It make you so mad. I'd be like, dude, I know I am. I ain't got time to play these games with you. I gotta recapture and redo the stuff that's supposed to be done in my life. I don't got time to worry about you. But he think he getting people. He think he getting you. Watch this. Hold on. Let me let him finish.
People are better than black people, even if they are. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's what he tried. He said that because he tried to say it don't mean that white people are better than black people, even if they are. No, I'm just kidding. He. Yeah, we know you just kidding with that, buddy. But look at the sister. It's like it just deflated everything out of her. You see her face? Hold your head up, sister. Don't cry. Keep your head up. I know you fed up. Listen to Tupac. She don't know what to say. Look. Look. See, he took all the wind out of her. Don't let him take all the wind out of you, sis. Yeah. He took all the wind out of her. Okay, you say, you know what? He took all the wind out of her. Look at the poor sister. Look at her face. She's like she just gave up. Don't give up, sis. Don't give up. Like, don't give up, sis. She gonna tell us who this dude is. Watch this.
Let me just give you the details and save the commentary for now. That was Elijah Schaffer, right-wing podcaster, making news with his outrageous assertion that while black people may be citizens, they are not Americans.
I don't have no problem with that. Have we ever been treated like Americans? Have we? We had to fight for every single step of a move just to be considered a citizen? You say he feels he needs to qualify that statement because is not even certain of what he's saying. Exactly, Akoti. Hey, you said, what you say, Aki? You said, I'm okay with that. Yeah. It ain't bothering me. He said it like he's supposed to crush me. I'm like, oh, dang, man. You see how it took the wind out the sister, though? Sister is the wind just left her. She's paused because like she ain't know what to say. It was just like, I don't even know what to say. All right, but I want y'all to hear him. So now we're going to hear what the 3/5 clause is really about. Because what he just said is hogwash. He don't even know what he was talking about. I was like, dude, what are you even talking about? That is not what the 3/5 clause is about. I want to get this time to say, if you are watching this channel right now and you like what you see, you like what you're hearing, you want to support Torah knowledge, please like, share, subscribe. I'm not asking for donations. You see, I don't got a cash app in a bio. I'm not saying drop money here and there. All I'm saying is like, share, and subscribe so it can help spread this Torah knowledge out to more and more people. Because like I said, on Shabbat, I'm starting a campaign called I Need Yisrael, which means I am Yisrael. And I'm trying to just get all Yisrael to come together, whether it's camps, whether it's outside of the camps, whether it's converts, there's brothers and sisters that felt that they had to convert because they didn't know the truth. Whether it's those of us who are West African Jews that know the truth. Whoever you are, I'm just trying to unite all us together under this one umbrella so we can spread Torah, truth, and knowledge and bring back or cause the coming of the Mashiach. Because it's time, people. It's time. It is time. All right, so let me let y'all see. And again, that if you want to watch the rest of that video, you can. I got it in the description. It is from Indisputable with Dr. Richie. And yes, it's right in the description. Anyway, I'm going to come back to the Bellringer, the Daily Bellringer. And he's going to continue to explain to us truthfully, with knowledge, what the 3/5 clause was about. Because The dude we just heard didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't have a clue. All right, so let's let the Daily Bellringer break this down for us. So go ahead, finish it up, Daily Bellringer.
The issue was representation in Congress. They agreed that the Senate would have equal representation, with each state having 2 representatives.
So they agreed with the Senate. They said, you know what, the Senate gonna have 2 representatives from each state. So each state is gonna have 2 senators representing that state. So everybody agreed with that. The problem was when it came to the House. Because now they say with the House, we want a congressman, but we want this congressman to, we want him, as however many people we got in the state, we want to be represented per capita. So watch this.
But they also agreed that population would determine how many representatives each state would receive in the House of Representatives. So the more people that lived within a state, the more representatives that a state would have to elect to the House.
See? So that's what the South was using. The South said, we got a whole bunch of people. We got a whole bunch of people. Not just us, but we want to use the people that we have kidnapped and captured and forced to work over here. We want to use them too. The North is going to say, no, you can't do that. I'm gonna let the Bellringer explain it.
Here's where the 3/5 compromise came into play. And this compromise is not something that we as Americans should be proud of in our nation's history. But Southern states at the Constitutional Convention argued that they should receive additional representatives based on the fact that they had a large population of enslaved people living in their states.
See? They was trying to use the enslaved people, even though they wasn't going to really be able to just using them to get more leverage in Congress. That's what it was about. That's what the 3/5 is about. So it had nothing about you gave you 3/8 worth of value. That's not, it wasn't about your value. The clause came about because they didn't want these guys to get the upper hand. It had nothing to do with our enslaved brethren and sister. It had nothing to do with that and their value. But the way he said it, and that thing right there, it made you think that's what it was about. But it had nothing to do with their value. It had something to do with the South trying to get over and the North saying, no, we're not going to let you do that.
Despite the fact that they treated enslaved Africans as property and they were not given citizenship or any rights, Southerners still wanted enslaved people to be counted in population counts in order to receive more representatives in the House of Representatives. Northern states argued that only free inhabitants of each state should be counted in the population counts.
All right, so the Northerners was against it, the Southerners is it, but again, the Southerners just was trying to be slick. They didn't even let them be citizens. So you couldn't even be a citizen, but yet you couldn't be a citizen, but yet I want to include you in a count so I can get more people in the House of Representatives to represent us.
Some northern states argued that southern states could now control representation in Congress by enslaving more Africans. Another aspect to consider of the debate that occurred at the Constitutional Convention was the fact that not only representation was based on population, but also federal tax contribution would be based on population. So if southern states did indeed get what they wanted and every enslaved individual counted towards their overall population, that would also mean that they would have to pay more taxes to the federal government. So the debate went on into mid-June of 1787, and it became a...
So then they start saying the downside of it. You know, they said, well, it is a downside of it because if we do get more representation, we're going to have to pay more taxes. So the upside was we had more control, but the downside is we had to pay more taxes. That's how they was looking at it. But it ain't had nothing to do with the value of the people. It was them trying to figure out how they can manipulate the system to get the power. Nothing to do with the value of the people like that guy was saying. He didn't know what he was talking about.
Very heated debate. In fact, some southern states threatened to leave the Constitutional Convention if the issue was not settled. James Wilson of Pennsylvania and Charles Pinckney of South Carolina proposed a compromise that the enslaved population...
See, a compromise. That's why it's called the 3/5 Compromise Clause. It was a compromise. They couldn't decide on what they wanted to do, so they came up with a compromise. Just like we do in Torah, right? You got the mezuzah. Some people say the mezuzah should be straight up. Some people say the mezuzah should be on a slant. I mean, it should be sideways, should be horizontal. So some say it should be vertical, some say it should be horizontal. So they said, you know what? So we can satisfy everybody, we just gonna put a diangle. So that way it's sort of fulfilling what everybody wants. So now we can end the argument over it and how it should be. So this is what they doing, but in a more fiendish manner, because they still not giving the people citizenship, but they just trying to figure out how they can count them. And they don't want to count them as whole people, because they count them too much as whole people, they're going to have to pay a bunch of taxes. But if they don't count them, then they're not going to have as much power.
Of southern states would only be counted as 3/5 of their actual number. So in other words, for example, if population counts counted 1,000 enslaved people, they would only be counted as 600 in the population count. And the Continental Congress accepted this 3/5 compromise plan, which basically meant an enslaved person really only had the value of 3/5 of a person. And interestingly, in the actual compromise, which was in Article 1...
That value was not of the person. Like they said, well, you didn't have the value, blah, blah, blah. That value that he's speaking of was how they was going to use you in counting how much power the Southern slavers was going to have. We still didn't have jack. Even they gave you 3/5 and 3/8. No, they didn't give us jack. That was for them. It had nothing to do with FBA, had nothing to do with ADOS, but only was them and how they was going to count you, so how their pockets was going to be affected. That's what that was about.
Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution, the word slave or slavery is never used in describing this agreement. Again,
now, as he says, and we're going to see that when we get to the 14th Amendment, they didn't want to use the term slave or slavery because that's going to make them look bad. So they're going to use such things as the party, the people, ambiguous terms that later on is going to get to be used as an ambiguous term to mean everybody. But that wasn't who they was talking about. They wasn't talking about everybody. Again, they was talking about us.
Going back to the fact that the Constitutional Convention did not truly want to take on the issue of slavery, since so many there were slaveholders themselves and did not want to give up the institution. Instead, enslaved people were simply termed as all other persons in the Constitution.
See, all other persons. So that's why when you read that all other persons, or you read naturalized or born, it's talking about us. It wasn't talking about everybody. It wasn't talking about people that just came over and had kids. It was talking about us.
This compromise would have a long-lasting impact on American politics and history. The compromise basically gave southern slaveholding states more power in Congress than what their true population dictated. So, for example, in 1812, southern states had 76 of 143 seats in the House of Representatives, despite the fact that they should have only had 59 based on their free population. And of course, having 76 out of 143 meant that they had over half of the seats, which made them able to pass laws that were favorable to southern states. And also, these unfair numbers helped southern states to heavily influence who would be Speaker of the House and control other political offices. And between the years of the Constitution...
See, so that value had nothing to do with us. It was all about them. It was all about them. I'm gonna clear out this one because I'm running out of time and I don't want to be on here too long. So what I'm going to do now is go to our next one where we're going to go back. Is I want to go back to the young lady who was explaining stuff because she was trying to explain it her way, and I'm like, okay, you was kind of off, but we gonna work on it. We gonna get it straight. So now let's go back to what she's saying. So now we're gonna have more clarity because she gonna explain it her way, but now we got more clarity to see what it was about. So let's go back to her.
Slave states wanted to increase their proportional share of the population and thus their number of congressional representatives by counting slaves. Free states wanted not that. And so they passed what became known as the Three-Fifths Compromise. Enslaved people counted as 3/5 of a non-enslaved person for the purposes of the census, and Native Americans were excluded entirely. Now there were...
See, and again, and I like how she said that for the purpose of the census. Wasn't about your value as a person. It was for the census. Because they still wasn't even looking at you as a person, but it was for the census. All right, so let's keep it going.
There were black free persons in America, but in 1856, the Supreme Court ruled in the infamous Dred Scott case that because Scott's ancestors were kidnapped from Africa and sold as slaves, he was not a citizen of the state of Missouri where he lived. 7 years later, President Abraham Lincoln...
All right, now we got Dred Scott. She brought Dred Scott into it. So now let's look at something about Dred Scott. See, I had everything together. I'm mixing it out, Key. I'm mixing it up. So let's go. Let's look at Dred Scott, right? So I want you to hear about Dred Scott. So I found a nice video that explains about Dred Scott and that decision so we can get a little understanding about Dred Scott. So I want y'all to know what's going on with him. So he want to hear a little bit about Dred Scott.
Hi, I'm Clint Smith, and this is Crash Course Black American History. When you think of U.S. citizenship, you might think of your blue passport, or placing your hand over your heart and saying the Pledge of Allegiance, or waving an American flag as you watch fireworks during the 4th of July with a plate full of barbecue. Citizenship is something that matters to people. Not only is citizenship a source of pride for many, but it has vast implications for how someone can live their life. It can determine where you work, where you can travel, whether or not you can vote, and even if you'll be allowed to stay in the country with your family. But
So see how all this tying in and it's going back to the other immigrants? But this is what I always want to see. All the benefits that they got, all the stuff that they got going on came through us. The same people they want to look down their nose at and say you ain't this and you ain't that. All that stuff came about through us. If it wasn't for us fighting, it would be no 14th Amendment to the Constitution saying any of that stuff. That's only there because of us. And they was trying to figure out how to deal with us. But they didn't want to say slave or enslaved or this, that, and the other in their constitutional document. So they put the party, the people, the party, the person, which made it ambiguous, which made it then seem like, oh, that's talking about everybody. But it was not talking about everybody. That law was specifically made for us. But I'm going to keep it playing.
The very concept of citizenship, who should be a citizen of the United States, and how people should be allowed to become one has been at the center of U.S. political debates for centuries. It was happening in the 18th century, and it's still happening today. Today in the U.S., according to the law, if you're born in this country, you're considered a citizen. Shout out to the 14th Amendment. But it wasn't always this way. For black people in the 19th century, the question of whether they...
See? Shout out to the 14th Amendment. Hey, everybody. Is that what it was meant? Let's keep it going.
Were, or could ever be, citizens of the United States was part of a decade-long court battle that centered on the circumstances of a black man named Dred Scott. Though Scott's case, which ultimately ended up in the Supreme Court as Scott v. Sanford, was initially about whether one man would be able to live his life as free or enslaved, it became something much larger, centered on the very prospect and possibility of black citizenship. Let's check it out.
Yeah. So it all started with Dred Scott. I'm gonna let him tell you what happened with Dred Scott. Then I'm gonna jump in. I was about to go there, but I'm gonna let him do his job.
The person at the center of this case, Dred Scott, was an enslaved black man who was living in Missouri. Historians estimate that he was born into slavery around the start of the 19th century in Southampton County, Virginia, and his enslaver was a man named Peter Blow. Scott was eventually purchased by an army surgeon named John Emerson, who moved Scott from the enslaved state of Missouri to the free state of Illinois, and then again to the free territory of Wisconsin. There, Scott met and married his wife, Harriet Robinson, and they started a family. In 1840, John Emerson's wife, Irene, returned to St. Louis along with Dred Scott and his family. And in 1843, John died suddenly, and Dred Scott and his family became the sole property of Irene. It's possible that Dred Scott attempted to buy he and his family's freedom from Irene, but from what historians can tell, she refused. So in 1846, Dred Scott filed a suit for his freedom in a St. Louis district court.
So, you get the gist of it. They was traveling back and forth from the free states, which didn't have slavery, to the states that did. And he said, hey, because we lived in this free state and I met my wife there, we had this family there, we really free. And you don't got no right to have us enslaved. So me trying to buy that slavery, buy myself out of this is null and void. So according to your laws, we supposed to be free. But watch how this works out for him.
His claim was based on Missouri law and precedent that if an enslaved person was relocated to a free state or territory, they were then considered free.
Now, that's what the law says, right? Ain't that what the law says? He's interpreting the law. That's why they didn't want you to know how to read. That's why they went, because you can read and you start thinking, you reading laws, you learn and see, like, wait a minute. No, we supposed to be free right now. That's what the law says. Right? So I'm taking you to court. Because I'm going by your rules. Notice whenever we play a lot of times by their rules, the rules get changed. The rules get changed right in front of your eyes. You be playing by their rules, like, yeah, I'm doing it, playing by your rules. They say, psych up, boy. You be like, what? Really? Watch this.
And thus, they couldn't be re-enslaved upon entering a slave state.
See? So, once you got to a free state, according to the law, you're supposed to be free. And it don't mean that once you come back into an enslaved state, you now back enslaved. It don't work like that. That's the law. But watch how they change the law. They know that's the law. They feel like this is an uppity Negro, think he know the law, and we gonna let him know that we the law, and we can make the law mean whatever we want it to mean.
And since John Emerson had taken Dred Scott to live in both Illinois and the Wisconsin Territory at various points, both of which were free domains, it seemed like they had a pretty good case. After a bit of back and forth, Dred Scott did eventually win his family's freedom in 1850, but the case got appealed to Missouri's Supreme Court, which ruled against the lower court's decision while noting, quote,
"Now, the lower courts actually did their job. The lower courts did their job. The lower court said, you know what? You right. You right. You right. You and your family free." But watch what happens. The same thing like what's happening with the dude Saeed, right? That's here in Baltimore. Remember how Mosby realized they was wrong and he should have never been arrested and so forth and so on and let him go? But then it went up the chain and some people said, no, we don't like her and we don't want nothing that she did to sound good, so we gonna send him back to jail. Well, let's sample what's happening here. Dred Scott told y'all free. Y'all good. But now, they said, no, we taking this to the Supreme Court. We disagree with that decision. Even though that was the law. They followed the law. I just want y'all to see this.
Times now are not as they were when the former decisions on the subject were made.
So times now is different. So since times now is different, bump them laws and what it said on the book. Let's change it. Because times now was different. Back then, we wasn't expecting nobody to take a black across state lines like that. But now they doing it almost all the time. And if they keep doing this, there's going to be a bunch of them getting free. And we can't have that. We got to do something about this. Look at this. Look at this mess.
Dred Scott and his family were sent back into slavery.
Times now change. Take him and his family and send him back into slavery. Pledge allegiance to what? Pledge allegiance to who? She crazy?
But Scott kept going. He received assistance from local abolitionists.
Hey, he said, I ain't going back nowhere. I'm out. Me and my family, we gone. We gone. We gonna go where we gonna be safe. We gone. We not gonna go back and listen to what y'all talking about. Y'all crazy. Just told me I'm free. Then you gonna switch up later to about times is different. Times has changed. So now we gotta make sure y'all can't get out because they never thought nobody would do what he did. When that law was made, they never thought that a person would do that, especially somebody like him. But yet he did.
Who helped him file suit in a federal court. By then, Irene had left Missouri and remarried. And for reasons historians have never quite figured out, the focus of the case went to her brother, John Sanford. The case eventually found its way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
So now, they still trying. Even though she remarried, she went on. They still try. He said, nope, his brother, her husband brother, or her brother, whoever, her brother took up the mantle. No, I'm going there. I can't let him escape. Think about this. These people free. These people going on about their life. This guy don't got nothing to do with it. But now he's taking up the mantle to fight.
But once the case got there, things, to put it mildly, did not go well. The moment this case arrived at the Supreme Court was a pivotal one in the larger context of U.S. history, because it was a time in which the issue of slavery hugely animated the political debates in Washington as the country expanded. At the beginning of 1820, the United States was composed of 22 states, a big jump from the original 13 colonies. The Louisiana Purchase had doubled the landmass of the country, which meant that there were new states to admit. And what this did was created some real tension between the North and the South on the issue of slavery. Would the new states be free states? Slave states? Would they get to decide for themselves? Let's go to the thought bubble. The entire nation was dependent on slavery to some extent, but some states, as we've discussed, were more directly involved than others. So, with predominantly northern states pushing to end slavery and southern states pushing to keep it in place, it became a bit of a moral and economic tug-of-war. This dispute led to the Missouri Compromise, which designated part of the Louisiana Purchase as free territory and part of it as slave territory, which would balance congressional power as more states entered the Union. This compromise, though, came at the expense of black people's lives. But as
Don't it always? Is there anything new?
the United States expanded, more individuals wanted to travel across state lines, and that created some unique legal issues.
See? So that was the whole thing. Oh, it's expanding. Oh, that mean if others travel, then they're enslaved people that they kidnapped and forced to work gonna have to go free. We can't have that. So we gotta say bump, even though he was right. Even though he was right. For the betterment of us, we gotta say bump him. Pledge allegiance to what? Okay.
The core of Dred Scott's legal argument was that he had lived in free areas of the country with his enslaver, Illinois and the Wisconsin Territory.
Yep.
The federal government at this time did not have specific legislation addressing the issue. So the United States Supreme Court was left to sort things out. If an enslaved person is moved from a slave state to a free state, is that individual now free?
Now, they just said legally, according to the state, that was so. But now the Supreme Court is going to reverse that.
What if you're riding on a train leaving a slave state and pass through a free state?
Then he free.
Is that black person free on the train while it's in the free state?
Yep.
But enslaved again when it passes back into the slave state?
We just said you don't get enslaved once you go back into another slave state. So how they twisting it around, playing these games with it?
These were big questions that the country was wrestling with. And the stakes truly could not have been higher. Thanks, Thought Bubble. The Supreme Court didn't buy Scott's arguments, and the justices sided 7-2 with Sanford. Chief Justice Roger Taney wrote in the majority opinion that Scott did not have the standing to sue because enslaved African Americans weren't citizens of the United States. And
ain't that what the guy just said? Weren't citizens? No, he said y'all are citizens now because of the 14th Amendment. But at that time, they weren't citizens.
That wasn't enough. Justice Taney stated that even free black people in the North could never be considered citizens. He wrote that.
So he said even the free black people in the North aren't citizens. So you're not citizens in the South, and even you free ones in the North, y'all ain't citizens neither. And we don't gotta respect nothing y'all got to say. Watch this. Watch what this fool says.
Black people, quote, are not included and were not intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, and can therefore claim none of the rights and privileges which that instrument provides for and secures to citizens of the United States. And in outlining the rationale for his decision, he stated that when the Constitution was framed and adopted, black people, quote, had no rights which the white man was bound to respect.
See? So this is what Dred Scott faced. So now we see what happened with Dred Scott. So let's come out of this. I'm taking us on this roller coaster as we go through this because I want y'all to see something. I want y'all to see that this was all about us. I want y'all to see and understand and know that this was all about us. It was all about us. I want you to see and know that. If you want to see the rest of that video, it's in the description. He does a real good job. I like how they explain it with the cartoons. And that video was for children, so children can learn about stuff. So that's what that video is for. It is about us, right? So now I'm going to bring you to the day. This is the day she talked about. Watch this. Watch what Trump is saying. Watch what he's saying. I want y'all to hear what he's saying.
Look, birthright citizenship was, if you look back when this was passed and made, that was meant for the children of slaves. This was not meant for the whole world to come in and pile into the United States of America. Everybody.
So how would he say it? When that birthright citizenship came in, the naturalization, that's why they say, we don't know what this naturalization means. That means you already here. Like grandfathered in, you naturalized into it. So that means the ones that's already here and born, you are naturalized into it. And then it says, and the ones born mean and their children. The amendment about citizenship was talking about us. It was not talking about anybody else. It was talking about us. Why? I'm gonna let him say it again. Watch this.
Look, birthright citizenship was, if you look back when this was passed and made, that was meant for the children of slaves. This was not meant for the whole world to come in and pile into the United States of America, everybody coming in.
So it wasn't about everybody. Wasn't about everybody. This is why identity is important. So you know who is it talking about. Hey, shalom, Aki. Shalom, Aki. Good to see you on here. Hallelujah. Hey, this isn't about everybody. I know we want to make it about everybody. We love to make stuff that got to do with us about everybody. We just can't help ourselves. It's like we just feel like we just can't be the recipients of anything. And I understand it's because of all the stuff we done went through throughout our history, throughout our lives. But this is something that we fought for. This was for us. Because before that, as you seen with the Dred Scott decision, they said we wasn't citizens. Said we wasn't citizens of their government. We weren't citizens. We had no right to the laws or any of that stuff. And not just us, even our children born to us was not citizens. So when it's talk about naturalized, the naturalized was the people that was already here and grown. So they naturalized into the law. And then the born mean and their children. This was not talking about everybody. Now it got used as a loophole because, again, they didn't want to use the term slave or enslaved. So they just said the party and the person. But as he's explaining, and when I heard him say, I said, wow, he breaking this down, but people ain't gonna want to hear it because it's him. Nobody wants to hear this because it's him. If anybody else said this, let it be Dr. Umar. Y'all probably wouldn't want to hear if it was Dr. Umar. Look, listen to what he said. I'm going to let him finish cooking. Watch this.
And totally unqualified people.
Look what he says. Birthright citizenship was for the children of the FBAs. That's who the ones were slaved. FBA, ADOS, Hebrew, Israelite, whatever you want to call it. It's not for everybody. What for everybody? So let me skip up to where he started talking again. 5 votes on a
Supreme Court that would uphold your position.
On what?
5 votes on a Supreme Court.
What position?
Birthright citizenship.
I think so, yeah. Look, birthright citizenship was, if you look back when this was passed and made, that was meant for the children of slaves. This was not meant for the whole world to come in and pile into the United States of America, everybody coming in and totally unqualified people with perhaps unqualified children.
Now, you gotta go, just put yourself back. This is what we do at Torah every day. We put ourselves back in the situation of the people who was writing during this time. Don't go by our feelings about now and how we feel about today. Gotta go back to what they was there. At that time, they was not thinking about people sneaking into the country and having kids and saying my kids are citizens now. They wasn't thinking about that. They didn't come up with that law for that. That law came up because the FBA and the ADOS was being disenfranchised, and the abolitionists argued for it, saying, okay, we gotta recognize first, in order for them to be able to receive anything, we gotta recognize them as citizens. That's what that 14th Amendment was about. Us. Have other people used it to make it be about them? Yes. Is that originally what they put it together for? No. They originally put it together for us. That's why everybody so far, as we've been looking at it, through all the videos, they always go back to us. Because that's who it was about and for. Us. That's why when he said that, I'm like, wow, he's saying this, but nobody's going to want to hear it because it's him saying it. Nobody going to want to hear it. Oh, he said, I don't believe that. He said, I know it's a hard pill to swallow. I know.
Children. This wasn't meant for that. This was meant, when it was originally done, for the children of slaves. And that was a very good and noble thing to do, and I'm in favor of that 100%. But it wasn't meant for the entire world to occupy the United States.
So you see it requiring a constitutional amendment that would be...
I just think that we'll end up winning that court in the Supreme Court. I think we're going to win that case, and I look forward to winning it. This has been going on. We're at that level. We're the only country in the world that does this. There's no other country at this level. There's no other country in the world that does it. It's crazy.
Think about it. Think about our brothers and sisters is over in the state of Israel right now. In Dimona. They got kids born over there all the time. They don't want to recognize their kids. As being citizens of the state of Israel. Ain't that crazy? I'm talking about even right now. They got kids in the military fighting the war with Hamas, right? Dying. And they still not recognizing their family or their people in their community. Ain't that crazy? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Citizenship, sir, do you believe that there are 5 votes on a Supreme Court that would uphold your position?
On what?
5 votes on a Supreme Court.
What position?
Birthright citizenship.
Oh, they started it over. They keep playing it over and over. All right, so I got that video in the link if you want to see it and look into it more. Almost through, people. Almost through. I just want us to get a full understanding of what's happening with this. A full understanding of what's happening with this. So now I'm going to go back to the young lady that's trying to explain her views on it. And she giving a very liberal understanding of it. When she talked about us, but didn't say it was about us. It's about everybody. But I ask you, when they made that law, was they saying this is about everybody or was they saying it's about them?
abolished slavery in the United States, and then we had a war, which the Confederacy lost. And
so see how she went back to slavery. She talked about the abolishment of slavery, so forth. She gonna talk about the 3/5 compromise that we already talked about.
And that meant that the 3/5 compromise was no longer operable. And so the question became, if you're now 5/5 of a person, does that automatically make you a citizen?
So now it's like, okay, so now you free. So by you being free, the 3/5 thing was only set up because we was captured and forced enslavement. But now that they quote unquote set us free, that meant the 3/5 clause don't count no more, because that only counted for enslaved people. So now, since you 5/5, since you're a whole, you now looked at as a whole person because you free. Did that now make you into a citizen? Is basically what she's saying.
After the Civil War, during the period known as Reconstruction, Congress took its first crack at answering that question with the Civil Rights Act of 1866. It said that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed, were hereby declared to be citizens of the United States. And then, in 1868, Congress made it part of the Constitution as the 14th Amendment, which reads, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
Now, knows what it says. All persons born or naturalized. What does it mean to be naturalized? That means you was already here by the time this law was enacted. So if you already was here and you was naturalized in by being set free, now you naturalized into the system. So now you are a citizen and the children born to you, but they say all persons, but those persons is talking about us. Them persons is talking about us. All persons born or naturalized in the United States. They didn't want to say slaves. They didn't want to say enslaved people. As the other historian pointed out in the video we looked at earlier with the Bellringer pointed out, right? They didn't want to say that. They didn't want that in the Constitution. So what did they say? They said persons and parties and people and stuff like that to make it ambiguous. But by the making it ambiguous, that made it able to be used by everybody. But that was not what they meant it for.
Are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside.
So all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges. But we know that they ain't pay that no attention neither. They still did what they wanted to do in that situation. So it is what it is.
No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of the citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Freed slaves were, at least on paper, American citizens equal under the law. Obviously, we've fallen down a lot on those ideals. We're still...
Yeah, oh yeah, we still fighting. Yeah. It just sound good on paper. Sound good on paper. I got you.
Fighting to ensure racial equality. But as to citizenship, the amendment is unambiguous on its face. If you are born here, you are a U.S. citizen with two very narrow exceptions.
See how it says, if you are born here, you are a citizen? Right? But she know, and we know, that F's not what it was talking about. But I'm going to let her keep going with it.
Which we will talk about in a sec. But now, let's talk about a case which every law student in America reads in the first 2 months of school.
Now, this law case that they about to talk about is the case where somebody other than us is going to use this law and they going to get it. But as you see from what she said, when we use these same laws, it's hard for us to get it. Ain't that like with DEI and all that other stuff that they put the black face on? DEI. We all as black people, as black people. But then when you break it down, you see the people that receive the most from the benefits of DEI are white women, Hispanic people. I got a video where the lady broke it down. She was like, it was white women, it was Hispanic people, it was Asian people, it was, hold up, I'm trying to remember all of them. It was Native Americans, disabled people, veterans, LGBTQ, and at the very end, us, FBA ADOS. But yet, we the last and received the least of the benefits. We received the least of the benefits, but we the one talking about, I'm a boycott Target. I'm a DEI. It's like, wait a minute. We ride for everybody else. Well, who ride for you? But I digress. Let me let her finish.
School. Wang Kim Ark was born in San Francisco in
All right, now, this is the case. This is the famous law case that everybody studies, as she put it out, right? And somebody else gonna talk about this same case, right? This guy was born in San Francisco. Parents gonna leave. He gonna come back. They gonna say, we not letting you in. He gonna say, I was born here. His lawyer gonna say, well, it don't say enslaved. It don't say this. It says persons. So that includes him. He a person. So boom, he's a citizen. See how easy that was? But guess who that was off the back of? Us.
1873. His parents were Chinese citizens who came to work in America as laborers. In 1889, they went back to China and they took Wang with them. In 1895, Wang attempted to re-enter the United States but was denied admission on the theory that he was not a U.S. citizen. The government argued that even though he was born here, his parents were not Americans when he was born, they were Chinese subjects, which meant that they were not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States under the 14th Amendment. So Wang wasn't an American citizen. And the Supreme Court said, no. If you are here and the government can throw you in jail for breaking the law, you are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. The justices ruled that not subject to jurisdiction described two and only two kinds of people. The first is ambassadors from foreign nations who have what's called diplomatic or consular immunity. They're not fully subject to American laws, and in fact, embassies are treated as functionally foreign territory. So their children don't get U.S. citizenship by virtue of being born here. The other class of people whose children don't get citizenship is soldiers from an enemy army invading the country. So the ruling said, the 14th Amendment affirms the ancient and fundamental rule of citizenship by birth within the territory in the allegiance and under the protection of the country, including all children here born of resident aliens, with the exceptions or qualifications as old as the rule itself of children of foreign sovereigns or their ministers or born in foreign public ships or of enemies within and during a hostile occupation of part of our territory, and with the single additional exception of children of members of the Indian tribes owing direct allegiance to their several tribes.
All right, so we see how all that stuff came into play. And we see that ruling was the ruling where they start saying, okay, it's about everybody. So they start writing other laws to add on to that, to support that claim. But it's all based on, we still not thinking about them guys. Yeah, it came through them, but now it's more advanced. Now we can focus on everybody else. And that's something that I feel is a problem. I'm going to close out. I had some other videos I wanted y'all to see, right? That's dealing with the 14th Amendment, but there's one video I'm going to close out on that I want y'all to see. And I'm going to close out on this one. And I'm closing out on this one because I want you to see how people can come over. People can come over, disrespect you, right off your coattail, but you are the reason, you and your ancestors and what you went through in here because of the transatlantic. Because that's why I went to that scripture that I showed y'all, where it says the promise to Abraham that because of his seed, all the nations of the world will be blessed. Even in exile, even in the hardship that we go through, people still being blessed because of us. Ain't that crazy? Even as you go through stuff, the struggle, you get it, and other people come and just get blessed off of it, and they just get to live and just do all kind of stuff, and you still sitting back struggling. Watch this. I'm going to show you this. I'm about to close out after this. This brother Godfrey, and he always break down stuff here and there. He got a little ism and schism going on with Lord Jamal that I probably would get into one day. But just listen to this. He was spot on with this. I don't know if y'all know this young lady named Cynthia Erivo. But Cynthia Erivo, let me just let you hear what he said about Cynthia Erivo.
What's her name? Erivo. That Cynthia Erivo who's playing Wicked, the witch,
right.
in Erivo, she said some really disparaging shit about African Americans. And then she ends up playing...
Is she British?
She's British Nigerian.
Okay.
If I'm right, I better be right, because I want to make sure if I'm not, you guys can go in the comments and go, he don't even got it right. That motherfucker don't say nothing right. You know how she said some disparaging shit about African Americans.
What did she say?
I want to make sure I quote it right, but if you can get your producer...
Now, I looked up what she said. She did some tweets where she was, it was her, and I guess she was talking to some other people that might have been Nigerian. And if y'all ever seen that movie, I think the movie's called Sugar Hill. It got Wesley Snipes in it, and the one brother that played on the 5 Heartbeats. They play brothers, and they was like these gangsters. I think it's called Sugar Hill, right? And they had this deal once because they was trying to get rid of dealing with the Italians, right? And they said, well, he said, I found these guys, they Africans. We can deal with them and just keep it all black on black or whatever, right? So they went to the Africans. And they used this word Akata. Every time they kept saying, we can't deal with you, Akata. And you are Akata and blah 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 Akata. And Wesley Snipes' character was like, his name was Romello. He was like, why he keep saying this Rakata? What do you mean by this Rakata? What does this word Rakata mean? I mean, he said, excuse me. And he said, it means, is a disparaging term, and the way he explained it was it meant African American cotton picker, but it meant something even crazier than that, right? So she's talking to people using this terminology, talking about us, right? I want you to get this. She's talking to people using this terminology, talking about us. And then she begins to say stuff about us being uneducated, can't speak English, just going off the stereotypes of different black people that might, have certain things that they're dealing with, right? So she began to talk about them. Said all kind of disparaging, crazy stuff. So what happens is, later on, she playing Harriet Tubman. What's going on here? That's why black people was upset. It's like, how dare y'all let her play Harriet Tubman? How dare y'all let her play Harriet Tubman? How dare y'all let this, that, and other go on? Because she said some crazy stuff, and that stuff been haunting her for a minute, because just like elephants, black people don't forget. They remember when you say crazy stuff about them. So watch this. Watch what Godfrey is going to say. I only got this, not to point out what she said, but it's something Godfrey is going to say that I felt was really, really deep and really, really would tie up this conversation. So I'm going to let it keep going.
To find it, that would be cool.
Mario, try to,
because I don't want to say anything out of pocket. And she said some shit about, which is funny how almost every foreigner has something to say badly about African Americans. Even Africans sometimes have fucked up shit to say about African Americans, but then everybody comes to America trying to be African American.
Hear that? Everybody got something crazy about FBA. They come in. I know y'all done seen the foreigners talking crazy, saying crazy stuff, right? Even the African foreigners come over and talk crazy. But yet, when you told them, say, I'm African American, like, what the world is going on here? That's why they came up with the term FBA. They got tired of people saying, I'm African American and I'm black. They like, no. Because when we say African American and black, we talked about people that went through certain things over here in this country. Not people that just came over and kind of look like us and they saying this, that, other, right? They was like, no, we not going with this. So that's when they came with the term FBA, Foundational Black American, right? Or ADOS, American Descendant of Slaves, right? That's where they came up with these terms, because they was trying to specify who is being spoken of. It was about identity. So watch this.
And benefit off of our struggle and the work that we put in.
Yeah. And what's really fucked up is...
And like Willie D said, they benefit off of what we did. It would be no birthright citizenship. Even if they view that as legal. Even if you say it is legal for the birthright citizenship for everybody. Even if you view it that way, it would have never came about if it wasn't for us. So the same people that's getting it try to look down on us and say crazy stuff about us. And if it wasn't for us, you would never even be getting no birthright anything. Because it wasn't about you. They didn't have you and you coming over here in their mind. It was them trying to deal with the situations that they had to deal with us. Because now we're in this society and they trying to figure out how we can function in this society. So first thing we got to do is let y'all be citizens. Even though we might don't like you, we might hate you, we might be against you, but we got to at least try to let you be citizens so you can at least function semi in this situation. So that's what the laws came about for. Not everybody.
She ended up playing Harriet Tubman. I go, wait a minute, you just talked about and shit on African Americans, and you're going to talk about the woman that did so much for African American freedom? You get to play her? You're fucking playing Harriet fucking Tubman? Are you out of your fucking mind? Harriet Tubman would have smacked the shit out of you if you said what you said. How could you say that? How could anybody that looks like you come into America and talk about African Americans when they are the ones that have created the foundation for foreigners to come in? The 1964 Civil Rights Bill is the reason why Koreans, Nigerians, Indians, Arabs can come in and open up businesses in black neighborhoods and still disrespect the fucking same people that are putting money in their pockets. What kind of fucking nerve is that?
Yes.
It's the serious hatred of African Americans in this country. It's in the soil.
The hatred. What did the Mashiach say? You be hated by all men for my sake. No, I might say you reaching. Am I reaching? Some say, well, no, he was just talking to the Talmudim. Was he talking to the Talmudim? Was he talking to Yisrael as a whole?
It's in the fucking soil, like my boy Dante says. That's my co-host. He says it's in the soil. That it's almost patriotic to hate black people. It's patriotic. It's part of the.
Damn.
It's part of that.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's patriotic to hate black people.
Part of the American thing to hate black people.
Yeah. So we just gonna stop it right there. So I got other videos in a link if you want to watch all the videos and the videos I didn't get to show you. I got them in a link as well. So if you want to watch those videos as well, you can. Yeah, but that's going to sum it up for the night. I knew I was going to go over. This is almost about my normal Monday night. Monday nights always are long because I got so much stuff built up throughout the week that I can't wait the Monday night. Now, I want to implore you, come back on Wednesday. Wednesday night, 9:45. Going to make sure we on here 9:45. Wednesday night, I deal with questions and answers. Any question or that is out there, that is out there for Bible believers, for Israelites or whoever, where they say, oh, you can't answer that question, they get answered on Wednesdays. I answer all questions. I don't run from none of them. I want all the smoke. All of it. So, and again, I go live on all 3 platforms on Wednesdays. So Mondays and Wednesdays, I go live on all 3 platforms. And then, of course, Thursday and Friday, I'm only on on YouTube. All right, but I appreciate all of y'all. And before I close out, I'm gonna let y'all hear our artist of the week, which is none other than Music Yisrael, and this uplifting song called Teach Me. So I got our artist of the week. Shalom, everyone. I want to thank all of y'all for making this show a very eventful one. Want to give a special shout out to Sister Anne Marie for being in the building, for Brother Walter for being in the building from the next session, and for my brother Catriel. Just big up to you. I appreciate all y'all for logging on, and others that's here that I can't see that might be on TikTok or any of those other things, and I can't see that you're here. I appreciate y'all as well. Just appreciate everybody that's watching this on a replay that didn't get to watch it tonight because it was kind of late, and y'all gotta get up in the morning like I gotta get up in the morning. Appreciate all of y'all. I just want to say Layla Tov Please have a nice, restful night, and I will talk to you all again on Wednesday for questions and answers. So with that, I bid you all shalom.
Shema